Hello everybody, this is your Torador's Extended Warranty, and I am doing two videos today, actually. The other one will be uploaded after this is done. I'm going to do both. And this is because I was actually planning on doing a video towards the middle of the week. The problem with that, actually, is that, well, my brain just wasn't cooperating with that, but such is life. As you can see, my opening image here is rather lovely. I actually should make myself a smidgen bigger. There we go. Brought my dog to get his hair cut, and he came back a bobblehead. Yep, husky puppy. Now looks, well, weirdly incorrect. But yeah. This video is actually one that I decided I wanted to do earlier in the week, and I've wanted to do something very similar to this for a long time. And one of the things that prompted me to finally decide to go ahead and do a video about it, I will hide here the opening image, bring up my capture. Specifically this. There was a situation in which Sega bent down and bent the knee to a Twitter mob, of which I guess was started by a minor. Sega bends the knee to Twitter outrage and fires VTuber over insensitive remarks. And the VTuber in question is semi-Christian leaning. And this seems to be a, phenomenally large trend across the West of severe anti-Christian sentiment. Now I might hear some people basically go out and say, hey, yeah, Christians suck. It's like, okay, Christians ended slavery, you cock. Their culture actually helped end slavery, a practice that is still in full swing in Middle Eastern and Third World countries. There were people that were going to mass migrate to the UK, got captured by Arabs, and then sold off to people in Syria. Yeah. Nobody likes to talk about Islam. Nobody likes to talk about how, their faith and cultures are not phenomenally great in any real way whatsoever, especially with the way that they treat women and children. But we're not going to go into that. We're going to try not to go into that. Realistically, the reason I wanted to make this video is because people like Sega, big names like Samsung, Apple, smaller names like freaking Dropship, Makeship, or whatever, that recently dropped Celestium because she's Christian and has not ideal views, as it were. It drives me nuts. I don't know who these PR managers are or who the media freaking people are at these companies, but you guys need to get your heads out of your asses. Legitimately. I mean, here's what I don't understand, and I'm going to make this very, very clear. I'm going to say this frequently in my videos because I feel like it's necessary to make a point, even though it shouldn't be necessary in any real way, shape, or form. I am politically slightly left of center. I am a small L, libertarian, meaning I'm not an anarchist. I'm actually closer to the middle line. But here's what kills me. Every single one of these companies will literally cave and bend the knee to people who are, realistically, most of the people don't have that much money in the first place because most of them don't work. Most of them are scamming off of our welfare systems, and they are just really, really loud. I don't care what the freaking company is. I don't care if it's Raid Shadow Legends. I don't care if it's Ridge Wallet. I don't care if it's Fume. I don't care. You actually have a better chance at selling products using moderates and conservatives than you do with liberals. And that's not a dig at all liberals, because some liberals are actually very family friendly. But the problem is the majority of people who try to cancel moderate liberals, centrist moderates, and people who are conservative or just right of center, those people are often very supportive of violence, of death. Like, I can guarantee you, if I were to go right now and see who all supported by Advanced GG, of whom punted Rev and Darling Straub, his wife, who said and did nothing to get kicked, that if you were to go to Advanced Partners and see if they made commentary on the president's potential assassinations, or the assassination of Charlie Kirk, I can guarantee you they were cheering for the death or attempted murder of their political enemies. Is that what you want your brand to represent? Because if it is, I hope conservatives and moderates grow a spine one day, because they will boycott you out of existence. Ubisoft is a prime example of this, because they keep making games for the, quote, modern audience. But, as Kirsche and several other people on this platform have talked about, the modern audience doesn't exist yet. They are making something for an audience that does not exist yet. And you might say, okay, well, that's stupid. Why would they make something for people that don't exist yet? Because they're trying to flood the zone. See, there's this fun CIA tactic that is a known, useful tool if you are ever trying to sow dissent or hide information, which is to flood the zone to make it look like no information that is relevant to you actually exists. For example, if you're a person who talked about Pfizer and how mRNA medications could potentially make you sick by giving you myocarditis, it could lead to sudden death, it could lead to severe problems, and up to and including long COVID, by weakening your immune system. If you were to talk about that stuff and post it online as a scientist, CIA tactics of flood the zone basically state that you take the most crazy individuals that you can find who are anti-vax, who are anti-medication, etc., and you platform them on media apparati like CNN, MSNBC, ABC, the New York Times, The Guardian, NPR, the AP, and then you have them pump out hundreds of stories collectively about these varying different types of people. Also recirculating of the same story from other outlets on new outlets. So then when people go looking up the information, all they find are the crazies. You are flooding the zone to prevent people from seeing that one opinion because you find that one opinion dangerous. Or it might hurt your bottom line. So, companies need to get their heads out of their asses, fundamentally, because those mobs that try to cancel you, that send you threats, are probably made of people mostly under the age of 22, a large chunk of which are probably under the age of 18. Which, should be noted, is interesting, because these are individuals who often won't suffer consequences. The important and interesting part of this whole thing is when I say flood the zone, the modern audience doesn't exist yet and people keep making things for, quote, the modern audience. They're trying to purge everything of American and Western culture. They're trying to make it so everything is big uwu chungus trans gay communism. By the way, also, all women are actually just ugly and fat, according to gaming. Western gaming, anyway. I mean, realistically, consider that. We kept hearing about representation for literally years, and what we ended up with wasn't representation. It was extreme overrepresentation where these individuals who are a functional minority in society are literally in every form of media, and you'll have games where 90% of the cast is gay or trans. That's not representation, that's obsession. Now, mind you, I'm going to have people who are pretty pissed that I'm making this video. And frankly speaking, I don't care. The modern audience isn't real. You're trying to take a niche and turn it into the societal dominant norm. Which is stupid. And it shouldn't happen. People like what they like, and forcing them to try to like other things isn't going to work as well as you think. But the reality is, what they're trying to do with the creation of the modern audience is make it so that the only thing that exists, i.e. the thing that looks like the norm, is, quite literally, what they are making. They're not trying to make things fun. They're not trying to make things entertaining. They are trying to indoctrinate you. They're trying to push their ideologies as a social norm, and therefore everything that they pump out is going to be that thing. And realistically, that should concern you a bit. Ubisoft is literally probably going to have to get bought out just to not tank. And it was, for a long time, one of the single most respected gaming industry juggernauts that existed. I don't know how many times I have to tell companies this, but if you keep supporting people who idolize communism, they will burn you down. They will steal everything from you, and they will put you under the guillotine because you have more than they do. Because their ideology is one of jealousy and greed. That's the reality. Now, this video isn't going to necessarily be 25, 30 minutes long, but my message to companies is basically this. Stop pandering. There's not a need for it. There's really not. And it frustrates the absolute bejesus out of me because you keep canceling people who are tame and moderate, who do not want violence against their political enemies, who do not want to see death of their political enemies, and then you list them as dangers to your community. I'm sorry, but if not agreeing with a person's social norms is a danger to other people, then all you've done is curate a group of children. Sonic the Hedgehog has been alive or around longer than I've been alive. I'm pretty sure. And I saw the towers fall. And the fact that the Sonic or Sega IP should be owned by this small niche of people who are falling on top of one another, trying to love bomb each other into some level of, like, existence is just weird. It's literally an obsession. And frankly speaking, it's kind of gross. I've said this before and I'll say it again. If you need people to affirm you at all times, there are probably other issues there that you're not seeing. And those are problems that you have, not other people. This entire, story over here, this entire thing didn't need to happen. She didn't need to get canceled because somebody else bragged about staying on with a Sega event, a Sega community event. And then she got called out for memeing about a death of a political pundit who is a father and a husband. It's like, oh well, he was a bigot. It's like, you clearly didn't watch his content, because if you did, you would understand that you don't necessarily agree with him, but he wasn't a bigot, and you don't understand what actual bigotry is. Ask white people in South Africa what they feel when it comes to bigotry. They'll tell you what real bigotry actually looks like. Ask Jews in Middle Eastern countries how they feel about bigotry. They'll tell you what real bigotry actually looks like. We live in a very safe country, we've lived in very safe countries for literally years. Statistically, the likelihood of something bad happening to us is very, very small versus all of these other countries. And honestly, the fact that you all can be that ignorant and still vote makes me sad. Because you will vote to burn down a country because of bleeding heart, misplaced empathy, just to prove a point. Just to prove how virtuous you are, when the reality is you have no virtue whatsoever. But that's a tangent for a different time. At the end of the day, the first part of this video is talking to the companies. This part of the video is me talking to creators and me talking to people. If you want these companies to change, vote with your feet and vote with your wallet. Because if you don't, they will never change. And you don't even have to broadcast to the world that you're doing it. You can just silently do it as a point. And whenever they see their profits going down, they're going to say, oh shit, what's going on? And then the people who are willing to be loud and public about what's going on will be. And they'll tell everybody, hey, yeah, assholes, we're walking away because you refuse to not be a dick. You refuse to understand that we just want a company who doesn't want to kill us, who doesn't hate the fact that we surely exist. Companies, fundamentally speaking, if they want to be profitable, should be nonpartisan. Back in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and even the 2000s, companies understood this. Right up until social activists started getting put into positions of power and decided that everything needs to be communism. Yeah, enjoy your head while it's still attached, because if they ever get power, it won't be there for long. You've been warned. And to everybody, literally, it doesn't matter about convenience, it doesn't matter how bored you get, stop supporting these companies. If they fall, they fall. If you let them treat you like a doormat, they will continue to treat you like a doormat. We need to make these companies feel a lashing more than Bud Light ever felt. And I don't even drink. Vote with your wallet. Vote with your feet. Stop letting these companies walk all over you and make a point out of you when the people who they will continue to support are violent, dangerous sociopaths? Treat them like we treated Advanced GG, where Advanced can't even make a post now about anything involving recruiting because of what happened to Rev and Darling Straub. Make them hear you. But, having said that, do it in a way that is at least partially respectful. Because if you make death threats, that's bad, and you should go to jail for that. If you're just derogatory and awful, that's not illegal. Still doesn't make your side look good. What's the phrase? Peacefully protest? Yeah, you can say mean words on the internet. I'm not going to police you on that. We have free speech in the United States, unlike most of the world. But if you want to be virtuous, show virtue. Don't just perform it. Anyways, this has been your Torador's Extended Warranty. We're at 21 minutes. Told you I was going to try to make it so it's not 25. And we're going to go back to our opening image again because I love this thing. We're going to take a look at the lovely bobblehead. Enough anger, enough rage. Behold. Bobblehead. I love this photo because it's so goofy looking. Like, I've always loved this picture. I've had it for a long time. And every time I look at it, it puts a smile on my face. At the end of the day, what you do is in your hands. Lead by example. That's the only advice I can really give you. This has been your Torador's Extended Warranty. Over and out.